I'm Keith Olbermann, and this is The Resistance.
We know who you are. How can we not know who you are? You've been around the block, and this is what you're down to. A gig with GQ on their YouTube channel. Nice art deco. Did GQ come up with this, or did you think this up yourself? I'm not going to do any basement jokes, Keith. Those jokes have already made the rounds. But no matter where you're recording your elitist buffoonery, it's cheesy. Really, a white desk, red and blue background, so patriotic of you. Nah, really, this is like Bin Laden broadcasting from a cave from parts unknown. And what's the name of your new gig, The Resistance? Yeah, resist against the democratically elected government simply because you do not like the results. This is the same bullshit the Republicans did with Bill Clinton as well with Barack Obama. I was hoping you clowns would rise above that and show some class. I guess I was asking too much from a bunch of elitist clowns. Keyword being clowns, with a capital C.
The span of one weekend, a man who essentially usurped the office of President of the United States with the assistance of this nation's most powerful and venomous enemy has himself attacked the structure of our Senate and our House of Representatives because their rules are archaic and they inconvenience him, has himself dismissed the two-party system because he believes it is obstructionist, has himself attacked the constitutionally protected freedom of the press.
Okay, Keith, let's go through this again. I'm not going to say for the last time, because as I've been saying, you are not going to let this go. As with the Republicans and Obama's birth certificate, you clowns are going to ride this out for the next 4, possibly 8 years. There is no evidence of collusion between Trump and Putin. And all Russia did was post fake news stories. They did it with Trump, they did it with Sanders, they did it with everybody. And Trump took the bait. Russia, or any enemy of America, did not hack into the electorate. They did not manipulate numbers. The only people manipulating numbers were the mainstream media with all its fake election polls. DNC servers and Hillary's private server got hacked. And by the way, Hillary had no business having that private server. It was a big-time security risk, which violated all protocol. And nobody can quite figure out who did the hacking. Could have been the Russians, could have been the NSA, which is another theory floating out there. They hated Hillary so much and did not want her to be their boss. That's the theory. But nobody really knows. And all they got hold of was a bunch of embarrassing emails. Emails showing the inner workings of Hillary Clinton's campaign, such as how they screwed over Bernie Sanders. And how Hillary liked talking out both sides of her mouth. As well, all the money she got deposited into the Clinton Foundation, Bill and Hillary's slush fund. Such as $500,000 by Russia concerning the sale of uranium mined here in America. Russia, who supposedly is our enemy. Not to mention all the other money from Arab countries such as Saudi Arabia, countries hell-bent on the destruction of Israel, our closest ally in the region. And your gal Hillary, with all that experience and all that know-how, who could handle any situation, even at 3 a.m, could not deal with those emails. Hillary's way of handling things is passing the buck. Blame someone else. Hillary's defeat was her own doing. And as for the complaints about Trump attacking the Senate because they are too archaic, along with the two-party system, as well the Constitution, really, Keith? I have another one of your videos here, Keith, where you basically complained about the Constitution being vague and archaic, at least when it concerns the removal of the president from office. Let me play it for you, refresh your memory.
And none of that is explicitly in the Constitution. Article 2, Section 1, Clause 6, in case of the removal of the president from office. It is amazingly vague. It was later clarified by the 25th Amendment, but the pertinent part is as vague today as when the framers wrote it. Quoting, "In case of the removal of the president from office or of his death, resignation, or inability to discharge the powers and duties of the said office, the same shall devolve on the vice president, and the Congress may by law provide for the case of removal, death, resignation, or inability both of the president and vice president, declaring what officer shall then act as president, and such officer shall act accordingly until the disability be removed or a president shall be elected." Until the disability be removed or a president shall be elected, not until the term of the elected president shall elapse. The Constitution specifies that an elected president serves 4 years. In the scenario in which the elected president is out, it specifies nothing.
Yeah, it would be nice if the founders made it a little easier to remove a person from office. Then you would have anarchy. It would be a constant do-over.
Because the media has repeatedly caught him lying.
Whoa, stop the presses. You lied the first 14 seconds of your video, speaking in absolutes of Russian collusion with no evidence to back your claim. And back to all that fake news Russia posted on the internet. Donald Trump was not the only one suckered. You and the rest of your pals in the mainstream media picked up and reported those stories as real. As if sleazeballs like you needed help on fake news. Hell, people like you have been manipulating and faking news since the advent of the print media. I've been listening for decades, people complaining about the mainstream media, how they lie and manipulate everything to conform to a specific narrative. Give me a break. Really, Keith, give me a break.
Has himself let his chief of staff confirm he may try to eradicate those freedoms of speech and your freedoms of speech. In sum, this man has himself so endangered the freedoms and the liberties of this country that if anyone does not understand that they and you and I and every individual in this country and everything we love and everything for which every American soldier has ever fought, all of it is under attack right now by this crypto-fascist Trump. If they do not see that their freedoms hang by a thread, they are sheep headed to the slaughter or collaborators leading the rest of us there.
Wait a minute, it's not Trump supporters who are protesting on college campus, shutting down speakers because they don't like what they have to say, calling them fascists and Nazis when they are not. It's not Trump supporters destroying property, starting fires, assaulting people, trying to silence opposing views. It's not Trump who is trying to shut down alternative media outlets. That's not Trump or his supporters. It's leftist commie shitbags as yourself trying to take away fundamental freedoms. You're the one leading the sheep to the slaughterhouse, you dishonest parasite.
Collaborators leading the rest of us there for the sake of Trump. The failing New York Times has disgraced the media world. John Carl of ABC said that as he read Trump's tweet from March 30th aloud. Gotten me wrong for 2 solid years. Changed the libel laws?
I was going to play this video clip on Obama blaming talk radio for propagandizing and hinting at censorship, but it's not here anymore. Copyright infringement? What happened to fair use? The fact of the matter is, Keithy, every president has had a love-hate relationship with the media and vice versa. But this time around, it's a little different. You're all on edge because people are no longer relying on elitist buffoons as yourself. The mainstream media is dying. Cable is dying. Television is dying. Each day, more and more people are turning to alternative media outlets here on the internet. And the mainstream media has seen this coming for a while now and have been uneasy about it. I recall when you were with MSNBC, you making fun of bloggers, suggesting very few people read blogs, except yours, that is.
To Trump's chief of staff, Reince Priebus, Mr. Carl continued, that would require, as I understand it, a constitutional amendment. Is he really going to pursue that? Is that something he wants to pursue? And Priebus answered, I think it's something that we've looked at. And how that gets executed or whether that goes anywhere is a different story. But when you have articles out there that have no basis or fact, and we're sitting here on 24/7 cable companies writing stories about constant contacts with Russia and all these other matters that have no basis at all, here Mr. Carl interrupted to refocus Priebus on whether or not Trump should be able to sue the New York Times. Priebus, quote, and I already answered the question. I said this is something that is being looked at. Wrong goddamned answer. The correct answer is that freedom of speech is the purpose of the United States of America. And every time this country's government has tried to alter that fact or has ignored it in the slightest, it has met with disaster.
There you have, ladies and gentlemen, that kernel of truth, wrapped around all the rhetorical lecturing and elitist buffoonery. You couldn't just do a level-headed commentary on the constitutional pitfalls of changing existing libel laws. No, instead, you open up your video with a lie. Then comes the outrage, the fist-pounding, the finger-waving, trying to convince people that it's the other side trying to take away your freedoms, when in reality, it's your side trying to take freedoms away from people. You lefties are a bunch of overgrown brats. Your candidate didn't win, and now you're having a nationwide temper tantrum. The funny part is, Keith, you and Donald Trump have a few things in common. You're both special snowflakes. The both of you are thin-skinned and like to shoot from the hip, sometimes out your ass, just like Trump. And both of you were traumatized when you were younger. With Trump, it was his brother. With you, it's wool sweaters. Maybe someday I'll do a video on that. But for now, you get a timeout. Now go to your room, and I'll let you know when you can come out. Poor little Keithy. And that's about it for now. Thank you all for stopping by and for tuning in. And until we talk again, I want you all to be well and enjoy life.